do want to say, like, one thing too, like how I took like a break with that one and then called back, and I run into this sometimes. So like the other day I had a job and I'm like thinking, I'm like, how do I call this customer? And I literally called Sean and I called Cody and like voiced my frustrations on like what this customer's rebuttal was, and then basically like had mock conversations with them on how I expected this phone call to go so I could call the guy back and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you knew. It should be.
But he's still taking a shower and he has a deposit.
When he gets back from the barber, he's gonna call Gerald. He wants to. Backstory: the guy wants to pay a much larger deposit so he can hit his next tier on his airline miles, but he's so nervous about the sale falling through, and Gerald has a weird return policy for deposits. So I'm trying to like have Gerald assure this guy that we can take that larger deposit and we will still give it back if something God forbid
Getting some
happens.
company owners to work with us a little bit can be difficult.
Sure.
You know what I think is super cool about Tyler though, is Tyler doesn't have any kind of like ego or anything. He's like one of the people that's here asking questions. But no, here's how I know. Like, it's okay to have, you're gonna have a little ounce ego. Like, you're good at what you do. I'm really good at what I do, right? And that's okay for me to say that. But he still asks questions, and the fact that he gets a call and then calls Sean and calls Cody, and he's like, how can I like get through this better? That's someone who at some point you literally won't be able to stop him.
Yeah.
He's going to make a shit ton of money in his life, and he's going to be super successful at anything that he does.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter that he has a 50 plus. Most people, when they have a certain booking rate, they're like, well, I don't really have to get any better. I'm already at 50%, you know? And for a moving company to have someone that can book 50%, they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna get on his ass, like he's good enough, right? But Tyler doesn't think he's good enough. And like, he's willing to even say, yes, I'm long-winded, yes, I do these things, I'm working on it, and I'll even go to my peers who have been here longer to get better about it. That's really fucking good. Like, that's, some of you guys, you know, you may look at Tyler and you're probably like, oh, here we go, Tyler did another close. That's part of your problem, is because you're not going to Tyler and being like, Tyler, how'd you close that? Well, how did that conversation go? Can I have that recording? How can I get to 50%? And then when you surpass Tyler, then you gotta go find another resource. But if some of you guys aren't booking at 50%, go to Tyler, because he is. And some of you are like, well, I'm not that long-winded, I'm not that detailed. Well, get a little more detailed. Get a little bit more long-winded. Get a little bit better at your job. So go to Tyler too, because he's a good resource to have, right? So good shit, Tyler, it's good.
And that's why we like, yeah, shout out Tyler. That's why we like doing this, is because even though we're all a team, we don't always get to hear from everyone on the team or like hear how they specifically handle things. So there are some people that are like, oh, like how is this benefiting me? And we understand that there are people that think like that, which is totally cool. But the ones that we are here to help are the ones that are like, I love this because I'm taking a lot away from this, because not a lot of people might not get to go in Tyler's head and like hear like how he does stuff, or Sean or Cody, anybody, it doesn't matter. And so that's why we like to do this interactive portion, because it allows you the opportunity to learn from each other, which is huge in a team, but it's one thing that we kind of take for granted because we're just here together all the time with one another. So like that's why like one thing that we do within the Elliott group is we are always constantly learning from other people on our team, because we see value in the people that we're around every day. So that's why we like to do this portion too.
Yeah. When I see somebody close a big deal, I'm like, how'd you do that? What'd you do? How'd the conversation go? Where'd you get the lead from? Like what kind of connection did you make? Like, I want to know everything about the entire process so that I can implement immediately. It doesn't matter, like, to me, there is no ceiling, and like right now we have like a top to the company, right? Like we're at the top of the company. But to me, I'm like, there is no top, so like what am I actually the top of, right? And if I get so good that I can't, like, I don't ever want to be a level 10 out of 10, right? And if anyone in here thinks that they're a level 10 out of 10 and they can't learn anything, we won't ever get better, right? We'll hit our cap, we'll sit, we'll be stagnant, whatever, right? But our goal is to be able to never hit any kind of cap. We want to be able to make more money. We want to be able to continue to grow. And if I get to the point that I'm too good to learn, I'll end up basically moving backwards, because the world's going to keep evolving. Things are going to keep getting better. People are going to keep getting sharper, right? And I don't ever want to do that. So we can create more levels to this company than where it's at right now. And you said too, we had this conversation. I was like, who can someone make 6 figures in your company? Who here makes 6 figures in sales? But you can, right? There has already been someone in the company that has, Isn't that right?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I think there's people in this room that make 6 figures.
What, are we scared to raise our hand? Who makes 6 figures in this company? Okay, good, good. You guys earned it, right? Look at you. You're like, yeah. And he's fit. Look at him. He's like, no wonder I make 6 figures, right? But if they're doing it, why aren't the rest of you guys doing it? Right?
Can't believe.
Is there a reason that you make 6 figures and you don't?
I wouldn't do the same thing.
Oh.
He is in person.
Oh, but she's in person too,
Yeah.
right? Okay. How do you earn the in-person spot?
Well, I was working here. I was working here.
Oh, but
Yeah.
there's
Longevity.
Ron,
I was gonna say,
Ron
how do you-
always gives the quote right before you leave the house. Is that true? That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
That's
You
how
never
Tim
want to
would-
email the quote.
I mean,
Hello?
Tim would sit down at the table and work up the quote and make sure he gave the quote before he
Yeah.
left the house, and that's huge. Hopefully, with tone and inflection, guys, we can overcome like lack of home field advantage, right? Because we're not standing in front of the customer. If we can do that, if we can sound amazing on the phone every day, we can outbook on-site people. It's possible. Tyler just proved it with that call. I mean, that's where I want to be. Cody and I talked about 6 months ago, and we said, why do we struggle to be as good as a home office inside rep, right? ABC Moving out in Tennessee, right? If Bill Smith is sitting there, he's got home field advantage. He can put mute on the phone, cup his hand over the phone and say, hey, Matt, can we do this deal? Can I discount this? How do you want to run this? We don't have that luxury, right? Because we're not there even at the office. But through tone and through inflection and through hard work, we've gotten there. We've actually outsold, right? With Gabriel out in American Moving Connection.
You guys can't do like FaceTime or like videos?
Yeah,
We
we
do
do.
video
Yeah, they do.
Phones actually have a higher closing ratio than video, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So we like that. It's because it's more efficient. But I have a quick question. So if you had to assign like an average closing ratio to like the inside sales team, like what is like average?
For what our average ratio for leads received is about 22, and then you add 10% to that for our quoted to book.
So about 32, right?
Yeah.
So we're like the low 30s.
Yeah.
Are there people who consistently book at 50 or 60%?
Yes.
Yeah. So that means if you're booking low 30s, whatever you're making right now, you can literally double that. We have people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally double it overnight and more.
Who's in the 30s right now? You guys know where your closing percentages are. Who's in 30s?
I'm not even sure where.
Yeah, we're about to pass out.
Okay, that's a problem. So everybody needs to know where they're at, because that's a big problem, because if you don't know where you're at and where you're sitting, you don't know where you're going, right? So we need to make sure that these guys are super up to date. Like every day you should know what your booking rate is, because it's going to change on a daily basis. You should know that so that you can start making the changes towards like, okay, if I'm sitting at 30% or 22 or whatever it is, how can I get to that next 10% bracket, right? So if you don't know, then you're like, well, I don't even really know where to grow because I don't know where I'm at, right? It's scientifically proven that if you put a person in the middle of the forest, you guys ever seen like a scary movie and like the crazy girl that always dies, she like passes the tree 3 times, right? Seriously. No, you've never seen a scary movie? I'm just saying like a movie in general, right? It's like in general, they are like walking through the forest and they're like, wow, we passed this tree 3 times.
What's wrong with
Yeah,
her?
exactly. So she passes the tree like 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden you're like, girl, you're walking in circles. Naturally, your brain psychologically, if you don't have any kind of direction that you're moving in, you will naturally walk in circles. That's why people who don't have a game plan in life, they just run a rat race. They run in circles constantly because they have no structure, they have no plan. When you hit the gym, do you have a plan when you go in there, or do you just mess around?
No, I have a plan.
You got a plan. Tim, when you hit the gym, you got a plan?
Heck yeah, I do.
Okay, so if you don't have a plan, you can't execute on something, right? So you guys, if you don't know where your booking numbers are at and you don't know what direction you're going in, it's like without any kind of direction, you're just gonna keep running in circles and you're gonna stay in that same little area over and over again. So some of you guys just gotta get really sick and tired of where you're at. And two, like I'd pester the hell out of Cody. I'd be like, bro, what are my numbers today? What are my numbers today?
See that themselves on their
So-
programs? They should be able to see that.
Because we have literally so many different companies, our owners do not give our reps permissions to see on their own CRMs. So we have it now where our VA is pulling our numbers, so it's once a month. It is literally such a hard process to get like Tyler his overall booking percentage, because I got to go to every single one of his companies and pull all the numbers individually. So it's like to get it on a daily basis would take half my day.
Well, no, he doesn't need
We're
to do
getting
it
there,
though.
though.
You
We're
guys,
getting
They
there.
did it.
but take responsibility. He doesn't need to do it for you. Do you know how many calls you get in, or how many calls you make?
That should be easy.
Can you get a
to
sticky
figure out.
note? Do you know how many calls you make?
Well, I know what my booking percentage is for 2 of my companies because I have permission to see them. I can tell you right now what they are, but there's some of my companies I don't see.
Yeah.
But you know, Joel actually comes to me though, and
Yeah.
he specifically asks me because he does want to know.
That's
that.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's
you
really
know, there's
good.
a few people. Tyler comes to me all the time. If there's a company he can't see it, he comes to me and asks me what it is
Yeah.
all the time.
We need to get to the point to where the VAs are doing that and we have it live
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the board.
That'd be nice.
And another thing too, but in the meantime, it's like just because maybe they don't give it to you, you guys know what deals you close and don't close. You literally go, you ask them for the money on the phone and walk them through the process. So if you're like, I got, like literally write it down. I keep a sticky note. That's how I know. Every day I keep a sticky note. We have a live board too, but I like my sticky note at my desk. And literally I go on there and I'm like, how many calls did I make? How many inbound calls did I get? Because I track everything. And then how many did I close? Because I know when I close them, I know that their processing went through, or I run the processing myself. I ran their card. I know the money came in the bank. It told me it was complete. So like I can run my own numbers without having to have like my team run it or anything like that. So if some of you guys really want to know, don't leave it up to the VA. If you're like, man, where am I at today? Like, how am I tracking? Because the cool thing too in the day, if you're like 0, 0, 0, 0 in a day, you're like, all right, don't stay stuck in shit. Like get up, like go to somewhere else and be like, hey, I just had 4 calls. I lost all 4 of them. Like I need to move. Something's not right, and I can't take another call until I get fixed. What's the best time to close a deal is right after you close a deal, right? But if you get on a streak of not closing anything and you feel like crap, you're just gonna keep on with that same negative attitude for the next call and the next call and the next call. You have to be able to grow, self-correct. So if you get through these streaks and you know that your closing rate is down, because you know when you're closing and when you're not closing, right? So if you know you're down, like go to one of these guys, like go to Ty and be like, dude, I'm in my ass kicked this morning. Like every call has been a 0. I've made this many calls. I got this many people to answer. Like I'm just getting shoved in the dirt right now. Like I really need help. And like come out of the funk. The faster you can get up. I have a sticky note on the top of my computer. It says get up faster. Because sometimes when you get knocked down, you're like, dang, I'm just gonna lay here for a minute because this sucks, right? Like we have gotten our asses kicked, we've been put through the ringer, and it's like, get up faster. Now it's like, if I get 2 calls in a row, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna walk. And it's beautiful out here. Like it's a nice day today. I know sometimes it snows out here, but typically in the spring, the summer, and the fall, it's like, I would be out here making a call, which they might not like that, but I'd be like, can't stop me, Tim. I'm going out here in the sunshine, with some vitamin C, and I'm gonna close this deal right now. And you can go out there. That's why when you guys get your list of information and you said, Tyler, is it that gets up or is it Sean that gets up? Who gets up? Tyler. Like Tyler gets up and he starts talking on the phone, right? Because he's walking around the office because that's good energy. Like I'd be out in the sunshine. This is a beautiful place. There's even like got this nice big old parking lot and everything. Like I'd be out of this office making some dials,
Jim,
right?
how far do you walk on the phone?
I was gonna say, like, if you
Dude,
put
go
him,
plug
he might
this
end
up
up in
here.
Akron. But